Hey everyone, this is the graduation call for the making Kubeflow a graduated project. It's not quite ready yet, but we're getting there. And it's for the 17th of June, not the 12th. Okay, and um, I always just want to highlight that we're trying to aim for the KubeCon in a timeline, which means that we need to have it done much before then. So realistically, we need to have submitted to the reviewers before, not on, the end of July. And so otherwise there's no way we'll make the timeline we're trying to hit. And obviously we would love to announce on the main stage at KubeCon that Kubeflow is a graduated project and that we're doing lots of cool stuff and show everyone's work and get more users and contributors and everything. So the most important issues for people to look at are we've apparently got this project, which is I don't know if this has been up to date or not, so I'm not gonna point people towards this one, but the checklist from the talk was posted by George from the CNCF. Has the various steps. We have to actually submit the proposal in this format. I think we're doing this inside of a Google Doc. I don't know if this is the Google Doc, but I'm trying to remember if there's one for the overall submission as well. Do you know that, Julius? Or?
Do you mean this Google?
Yeah, because that Google
Whatever.
Doc only is for the technical review, right? But there's also like where were we? We were filling out this one, right? I'm just trying to remember where this was. We should paste this.
Yeah, but I think there was Jorge, or however he's pronounced. Um,
He called
I
himself
think
George.
told George. Okay. Um, Told us, I think, that we can start with the general technical review, if I remember correctly.
But I think we did make a Google Doc last time. I just remember making one for this, so I just want to link it in the because like we have this, then we have the general technical review, which is then where I found this one. I can probably check on my Google Docs, and if you want to check if you have the other one, all right, maybe you. Oh wait, no, you did it here. So I'm just gonna quickly check on my other screen, but let me just duplicate this. Oh, that's weird. I didn't know you could do that. Let me just grab the other one. So while you're doing that, do you want to quickly talk through what you've been working on, Julius, on this? You don't have to go in super detail, just like.
Yeah, it's just about filling out all the questionnaire from the
So this is going to be
general.
submitted to the CNCF as like a
Yeah,
review of Kubeflow, to be clear for everyone else.
yeah.
So I think you
Um,
guys were working on some things. Is there anything that's blocking you guys?
Yeah, we don't yet have a clear stance on rollback, for example. If you scroll down to the comments at the bottom,
How far down?
um, just search for rollback. Yeah, the thing is, everyone is free to review this document and comment as well. So we need to finish this. And some points I can answer as Kubeflow platform. Some points I have to answer for individual projects. We still have a long way to go regarding reducing CVEs and some other things, I would dare to say.
So has this been
Um,
submitted to the CNCF already, or is this
no,
not
no,
been
no,
submitted?
we are still, I think we have reviewers from the CNCF. So
Okay. I think it's because the
most of the,
CNCF really wants us to succeed here. I think they're giving us some
yeah.
resource. Yeah, makes sense. Obviously, of course, the CNCF really wants their main AI project on Kubernetes to be successful.
And for example, right now, even though it might work in practice, my stance right now on rollback support is it's not officially supported. So we would check the checkbox and say, well, we don't officially support it.
I think that in general, there's very rare situations where rollback wouldn't be supported, but the only issue is around SDO.
Yeah, and the thing is, we don't test it. If we want to support it, we need to test.
Why is rollback even coming up though? Was it a question from a reviewer?
Yeah, it was a question at the bottom.
Where? I'm trying to find it. Describe. Oh yeah. Because
You
even
control F.
Kubernetes doesn't support rollback, right?
Yeah, just control F rollback and
Oh
you
yeah.
might.
Okay.
Yes.
Because even Kubernetes doesn't really support rollback. You know what I mean? Like on a production cluster. Um, Maybe they mean rollback of feature rollouts because
I mean, you can comment there and ask this clarifying question, for example.
I know that in Kubernetes, there's any feature rollout process, like any KEP has a rollback kind of process, where it's like if we screwed up and we did something wrong, we're going to unship this feature using this process.
Uh,
so,
yeah.
so
I
it
mean,
could it could be
you can revert commits in Git, yeah, but
no. What I mean is like Kubernetes has like a concept of like abandoning a feature. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
where it's like, oh, this was a bad idea. We shouldn't have done this kind of situation.
yeah,
Um,
but this is not what I would call a rollback.
no, I
Rollback
agree.
is,
Rollback usually refers to undoing an update, but
yeah,
at a user level, not at a code level.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
We need to the individual working groups to take a look at this document and fill it out as well.
So what we should do is then ask that people review. So we need to actually highlight specific areas then, and we should send it to the working group meetings to be like, please go through it and make your comments in the meetings. Like
I think it's not just in a specific area. Really, just I think they have to in general go through this
because I
document
worry
once.
that I don't want this reflecting only, the manifests, right? Like because obviously there's different rollback procedure. Like just because the manifest can be rolled back doesn't mean that Kubeflow pipelines, for example, want to commit to
Yeah,
that.
this is Andre already added some working group specific stuff, and I hope the other ones can do so as well. Um, yeah, but I also just in general, I think every working group needs to take a look at the security scans with Trevi that we have done.
Have we got those public or are they private?
They are public on each commit to master. We have the security scans
On which
and
repo?
really
Is it on every repo?
Kubeflow manifest.
Okay, it's only if it's only on Kubeflow manifest, most people aren't going to see it.
Yeah, yeah. From time to time with the most problematic security issues, I go directly to the working groups. If you go to actions and search for on the left-hand side to just go to actions on the top. On the left-hand side, search show more workflows, and then that's already image extracting and security scanning. Yeah, and if you go there to just the latest one maybe, and if you click on if you click here and on the check mark on the green one and go to run image extracting and security scanning scripts and scroll to the bottom, you can also see it per image, but at the bottom there's a summary table.
We should probably put this in like I know that for example on the external secrets project they have a website that tracks the burn down on this.
Yeah, it's still a bit high.
What I mean by burn down is like these sort of numbers are useful if they're public. Also, another good thing about I forgot the exact tool that they use, but they have the ability to say that CV isn't correct, like that one's not valid, and just exclude it from the count.
Yeah, long term we have to do this, but also some images have over 5,000 CVEs. I
That's what I
mean,
mean. Like some of them
one
might
image.
be real, right? Probably, but there's like for example, I'm not saying that we should use it because I think it's a vended solution.
Yeah, but we can get it down by 50% just by doing a few simple changes. I think the MySQL upgrades, the removing some deprecated images, removing some stuff that is already in progress of being removed. Once this is merged, this will go down already by 50%. It's really just about doing the PRs.
Pipelines is quite difficult to do because they have a lot of older version compatibility stuff going on, but like the reason this one's so high, as far as I know, is because they have. But again, this is not a blocker to graduation. This is just general security review stuff. Like we should be looking at this, yes, but let's talk about graduation while we're in the meeting. Okay.
I'm not so sure whether this is probably the security review will also focus on this.
They will, but again, they're not like um they're pragmatic, right? So they're going to be like, if you are working on it and you have the question is not the fact that we know that there's a problem, if there is a problem. Again, I don't actually agree that necessarily there is 100% a problem in all cases. Every CVE here listed doesn't necessarily correspond to an actual security risk. But
yeah, but say 50% or so.
sure. But like the severity is then the question. Anyway, so the point is from the CNCF's perspective, they're just going to be like, yes, that's like you are better than most people because you're actually looking. And then if you have a process in place to things, I think the biggest security risk we're going to have, which I don't think is actually on here. Let me check. No, it's not. Yeah, the actually no, maybe it is. Yeah, no, most of the word securities are just links. Yeah, so yeah, no self-assessment. We should go through those open SSF badges in a second, and then we can probably end the meeting after that. But because the only part that I think we're distinctly lacking is a centralized reporting process for disclosure and tracking. I'll more aggressively follow up with the vendor that's used by Kubernetes, and we'll just check HackerOne, and I'll just check if they are interested in offering us a sponsored account or not. My reason for that is because while we do have the security ones, I'm not going to open the tabs in case they show something, but like we do have the GitHub one. The issue is that it's impossible to give people limited access. They have to have right access on the repo, and I do worry that, and also that you can't do things like have a triage team, for example. You know, that who's just there to make sure that someone looks at every security report. I just worry that if we don't have that, because Kubeflow has so many projects, if one maintainer is not paying attention, we will miss something, you know. Do you agree, Julius? Is that
Yeah, to some degree, but this only works if you automate almost everything, such
so
that the
the
maintainers have
HackerOne
enough
does
time.
do that. So HackerOne has AI stuff. It also has deduplication tooling. You know, so like if 10 issues get raised with the same issue, it has. The other thing it has though is well, it's famous for having bug bounties, but we're not going to use those. Like it has it makes sure that you are aware of the timeline associated to a security disclosure. You know, there's an industry standard which is unless something is happening that's more complex, most researchers will only give you 90 days before they publicly disclose, unless you've acknowledged and worked with them, obviously. So I just worry that if we used GitHub's one, while GitHub is okay for publishing CVEs once they're, like you can publish, oh, actually, it has to have a policy, but you know, you can publish a CVE once it exists. I think from the CNCF's perspective, though, they only just want us to have a policy on every project. You know what I mean? Like that's so however we end up doing it, I think the main thing we need to figure out is we need to have a security page on the website, you know?
Yeah, I think, I mean, yes, we should have something on the website about this.
Oh my God, did we end up screwing this up? We need to fix whatever. Okay. Who merged that one without this change? I thought we were talking about this change being the shorter one.
And can you reload? Because maybe Francisco is doing something on the side. I also see something different. I see this missing, but I see the second paragraph.
Okay, well, we need to figure out why that was merged, because I thought we agreed that we'd change this to the shorter one. Anyway, also this, I feel like this has a typo in it. It's too long. What the heck is this? How did this get merged?
Because the KC voted on it.
This part of it, though.
So I just see, I think one part is too much, but I think Kubeflow, the foundation of tools for our platforms on Kubernetes, we could say Kubeflow is the foundation of tools, but also what we have here is.
But where did this, I thought we agreed on a different thing. That's what I mean.
Like I said, this was voted on by the KC.
But
So
when though? Like, was this voted on yesterday?
No, this was voted on today.
Okay, today.
Platform teams can
Sure,
build
but like, you know what I mean? Because this is way too long. But aside that, this is too long as well. I thought we were going to make this the AI platform for Kubernetes.
Yeah, but everybody's entitled to his opinion, of course.
Not platform, sorry, the AI toolkit for Kubernetes. Like what I'm saying is that like this literally is too long to be a tagline from like a marketing perspective.
I think it's
more than 50 characters. You can't, like, you've got about that many characters before you start getting truncated. Anyway, we're just getting sidetracked. Okay. Hi. Yes, Hema.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. I don't know if you've identified any immediate action items for the different working groups. So here, just representing pipelines. If there's
Sure.
anything that like I should be looking at, that I'm currently not. So I'm trying to get involved in this process. Just let me know. Previously, we had Ricardo who was involved with this whole badge stuff, which I now have to catch up on, since he's not with he's going to be leaving
Yeah,
the
yeah,
team
yeah.
soon. So
So the
this,
OpenSSF
Mhm.
badge is just a kind of a self-attestation thing that we need to have gone through. Each project needs to have gone through. It's technically it's an open source thing. If you're not aware of it at all, it's like just it's a website that is kind of like trying to improve the standards of security on open source projects. I believe, let me see if Pipelines has a linked one. Do you know where the pipeline link one is? Julius?
It's typically also linked to the README in the
It is.
Oh
main
yeah.
repo pipeline. Yeah.
So do you have access to change it? Is my first question, Hima.
I probably can get it if this is something Ricardo had. He's still with us. So
So work on that. I'd say that's
yeah,
my My first
yeah,
rec
yeah,
if
yeah.
we have
Okay.
this, let me just. I don't think it's here. It is there actually. What am I saying? Which one? Where was it? It was. Oh, there. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's the one.
So, I don't know who has access to this.
I'll sync up with him. So okay, so this is very much a self thing.
This seems
Okay.
like it. Some of these are definitely already met, but are listed as
Yeah,
not.
yeah. I'll take a look. Okay.
Like obviously that's GitHub.
Um, and for the doc that we're looking at, is that linked in the meeting notes? I see like a million links, so I'm trying to find it.
Which doc?
The technical doc.
Oh yeah, so
What-
that one's a pain. Let me just add that. Let me just
Yep.
add that in here under.
So the ask from the working groups is to go over this and identify what are action items for the individual working groups that are outside of the scope of the manifest repo. Is that
No, so like the problem is that technical review is for all of Kubeflow, and so we've agreed
Mhm.
that Kubeflow is going to be defined as these things. It's actually not even strictly defined as manifests, at least in the current definition. I don't know if something's changed there. I personally think what's being defined as manifest right now should be defined as dashboard, but that's a separate discussion.
Right.
Like as a reference kind of platform thing. But like multi-user with auth and things like that. I don't know, Ulysses, you can speak there what you want to do. I don't know if there's been a discussion about graduating manifest specifically. Let me just get that link you needed.
It's more an indirect graduation.
But I think we could directly graduate dashboard, right? And put auth in there, for example.
Yeah, but even that was decided by the KC to do a minimal graduation, an MVP graduation. And I think dashboard and Kubeflow platform will probably follow up later.
Julius, you also identified in Slack the potential blocker with the multi-user exploit on artifacts for pipeline side of things. So
If you're talking about a vulnerability, please do not talk about it on the recording publicly.
right.
They are probably public already, so.
Well, this is in a public Slack.
This is a very
and
public meeting, so how about you talk about that offline? Okay.
Well,
No,
nothing is this not already a GitHub issue about and has been for like the last 3 years.
Okay.
Right. So I guess my point is that the end of July is a very optimistic timeframe for us to resolve that.
Well, resolving the issue is not the concern. The issue is just
Mhm.
fixing the overall security policy. Because remember, we're talking about policies here.
Okay.
Like, so
That's
this
fine.
is like, so yes, you should fix issues. If there's an issue, fix it. But like, if it's not about that issue, it's not about having perfect state. It's about having the process to identify and track security issues and solve them, not solve them all, right? Like so. Like
Got
yeah,
it.
I don't see any particular reason why any particular issue might block graduation. You know, it's more like if there's a serious issue, work together, solve it, great. But the CNCF, like none of these things here say you have to have a perfectly secure project. That would be crazy. You know, like it's
Okay. So I
yeah.
guess if there are, I guess, specific action items that do come up with regards to like
So making your way
working
through
group.
this is the first
Yeah.
step, right?
Mhm.
So most of these will already be met.
Mhm.
This might not be though. Actually, no, this probably is.
Yeah, I'll go through it and then
Yeah, and then the next step, once you've gone through those, is we need to figure out exactly what we're asking of. I think Julius might be away from keyboard for a minute, but the exactly what we're asking each working group to do. But we need, for the projects that are being declared as graduating, especially because if platform isn't being graduated, then these questions don't even make sense in some cases. But like, how do you, like, for example, there is no auth in Kubeflow pipelines out of the box. You know what I mean? So what?
Right.
Right. It's provided by the distribution or system. So okay, that's a separate question, you know. But I would say that then from your perspective as, so like effectively when we submit the technical review, we're gonna submit it to review, which someone who, again, they're not gonna go super hardcore on it, but like they're gonna ask questions for things that don't seem right, you know. And if we're saying these things are being graduated, you know, one of them is pipelines. So when you look at pipelines, the question is like, this is tips and things like that. But if we talk about, yeah, like, so, you know, how do you define roadmaps? Because like, so there's like very basic answers here, and pipelines is one of them, but probably we need to split this for each project, you know. So like the answer to this question is probably just going to be linked to all the various roadmaps, and that's an answer to that question. Then it's like, who uses it? Well, that's going to be the same, so that's fine. Then primary use case, whatever, that's fine. We can probably fight about that description, but that's more of a community-wide thing. Then explain what use cases have been enabled. I don't really understand why Argo CD is being talked about here, but I think this must be an example. What? Why is Argo CD being talked about here? Okay. What?
I think that it's placeholder text from a previous graduation.
I mean, this is what's have been identified as unsupported, right? Because technically people use Argo City with Kubeflow, so I don't understand that question. You know what I mean? Like, it's very weird. Like, anyway, there a number of distributions use Argo CD. Okay. Anyway, describe organizations. Okay, I think this probably needs to, first off, we should probably be like indenting or something. I think we should link the main important one to link here is this, right? Adopters.
Hey, sorry about that, Matthew.
That's fine, that's fine.
So yeah, I think broader point is, so my understanding, so we talked about the open SSF thing. So I think just a area like can be a good issue where like the working groups can take a look, and if there's a specific ask that needs to be addressed by a working group specifically, we can just kind of keep checking back on and make sure that we're not missing.
So the main,
anything,
okay, so yeah, okay, the main thing that I think is going to take time is going through that SSF badge, and then the next thing is so make sure you're doing that, and then the next thing is going to be setting up the security policy, but we're going to try and make a project-wide one, I think.
Okay, so yeah, so sounds like that's about it. If my ask was only that if we have like a singular place for all the working groups to take a look, and if as things are coming up, we can check.
Document is the single place.
And is the other proposal, so because obviously we need to submit this before the end of July, right? So like, is the other checklist at all needing to be worked on as a doc?
Let's see, scroll down, please.
Because is there a doc for this? Because there isn't a learn link. That's what I'm trying to say.
No, scroll down. I think this is GTR. Yeah, this is scroll up one more second. Sorry.
This is not GTR. This one's Kubeflow graduation proposal.
Yeah, I know. Can you scroll down again?
Yeah, I'm just looking. I think these are mostly done, right?
Yeah, these are all mostly done. I think this section is covered by the GTR. Oh, I see the engineer. Yeah, okay.
So this is one section of the See what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, but he said so. Jorge had said that like just mostly focus on the GTR.
Yeah, I
so
think most of these are already done. Is kind of what I think the implication is. Let's just check if there's anything. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, other than that one,
I think the one of the big things that I don't know if it's still true, but I remember one of them had required a roadmap. Maybe we ended up closing that one out.
well, that's definitely in the GTR. But the question is then what roadmap, right? We have overall roadmap and we have per project roadmap.
Sub-project
Well, again, if
roadmaps,
if we're defining Kubeflow as these things, then these things are the things that need roadmaps.
Yeah, correct.
So then
That is what we're defining it. So like
Yeah.
Humair, part of the reason that wanted you on here, and thanks for coming. Sorry I'm late. Is we need to kind of like create a public roadmap, and I would just
for pipelines.
yes, for pipelines, for everybody. Everybody should create a public roadmap. Mateo, feel free to slap some stuff on there too.
Wait, are we
Yeah,
going to use
but
the same
sorry.
doc or is it separate docs? That's what I'm asking.
I actually don't think we need to make separate docs. I think if you just make a GitHub roadmap, like you can make a GitHub project and just declare that as your roadmap.
Can't we just put it as markdowns? Why can't they go in the repositories?
Yeah, if you
and then
have
make them-
like like actually I'll be even more generic here. Do whatever you want. Publish it somewhere, just give me a link and then
Yeah.
we'll just add that link and that's it.
I think it's going to be easier if we use separate ones for each project. Is kind of what I'm saying. But then we have
Mhm.
maybe a common one.
I agree. Just separate ones for each project is totally.
Especially if we're defining it as these projects. If we had like a common reference project, you know what I mean, or something as one of the ones, then that could have an overall roadmap. But then it's kind of like, what does it mean to have an overall one if we don't have an overall component we're graduating, you know? Like this kind of, I think it only makes sense to have separate ones, right? And
It'd
model
be
registry
nice
already
if we
has a roadmap,
can
right?
have some convention of like, like a contributing file in the root. Maybe it's like a roadmap.md that these component repositories have.
Yeah.
And,
The
yeah,
danger
That's
with
what we
using
have
to
in
it.
Feast. We have
files.
like a roadmap file and we also have some like
Yeah.
GitHub projects and stuff like that. So like again, I actually don't think we need to be prescriptive at the component or project level. I think you all can just choose one. Just give me a link.
Yeah, and also, there's one negative you got to think about with files, which is that they get versioned with the code, right? And sometimes it can be hard to change them, and PRs are required to change them. Whereas, like, if you use a Google Doc or you use something else, then it can be easier.
It's a trade-off. I think like Google, like, when it's on GitHub, they're like easier, easy to find. Google Docs get lost, and in my experience, are very difficult to keep track of.
We could also just ask people to put a page on the website under their component.
If I may interject here, Humair personally found that working through the badge has been one of the actually greatest way to sort of like checking all these like roadmap, security policy, these kind of things, because as you work through the that badge, it will have questions in it like how the project define the roadmap, how the project make a release, how the project has a security policy. So please feel free to also ping me offline to this meeting. I'll be happy to share how we are working through the model suite for the badge. And indeed, like because of that, we have a roadmap MD file that points to the process that we're using with GitHub. We have a release MD file that shows how we're making a release. And this allowed us to complete the badge item.
Nice. Oh yeah, I'll sync up with you then. Awesome.
Happy to help.
Also, I've just found another doc that I don't know if it's related to the GTR, which is this engineering principles doc. Or is that, like, here's this one here. Is this doc still being used?
Let's see.
It's from this link.
Oh yeah, so we don't need that anymore.
I'll just put a link to the other one then at the top.
Yeah.
Although this is grouped by component, so there is something to be said there.
I think this is old. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
I'm seeing if because was there any so other than that. Okay, so other than that, what are we telling people to do? So we need to. The most important thing is to go through the badges, obviously. for each of your projects.
I think if we spent this section going through like, do we have anybody from Spark? That's the one where I started the OpenSSF, the badge, but no idea.
And check if they've got one.
They don't.
So we need to get them a freaking working group. This is actually there's an issue with the GTR, which is like who owns that project otherwise, you know what I mean? Like the GTR asks, you know, because when we say we have a working group for each project, well the answer, what is the working group?
Well, it was the data working group and like that's
But it doesn't exist.
Yeah, I know. Well, it opens up a rabbit hole. So like
But then we should just make that one exist if we're definitely graduating this project, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
I've always thought that we should have a metadata working group separate to the data one anyway.
Oh, I mean, I think we should just have a data working group and include metadata in it. Like
But then
those
that's
two
up to
things
the
are important
people,
together.
right?
Well,
That is up to the people who want to maintain those components, though, right? If they don't feel connected, for example. Like I feel like Spark might want its own working group. You know what I mean? Like that's like we could just have a Spark working group, for example. Like if they just want a Spark one.
Yeah, I don't think we should. Anyway, fine. Like this is.
But like what I'm saying is we should encourage the creation of a working group there, because right now the issue is just that it's much better to have for the one project that we definitely have, which is Spark, right?
Yeah.
We need to have
No, I get it. And malware industry, but yeah.
So the problem is who's going to write that charter? You know, what I mean, the charter is painful to write.
I think we actually have one pretty warm that Matteo might have written
for Spark though.
Well, he wrote a data working group.
So the data working group is proposal. Basically, it was incorporating all the comments, and basically, in short, we stalled if it was to include the fee.
So actually, I think this is a really good outcome. Matthew, this is a good forcing function. Julius, let's plan to vote on this next week at the steering committee meeting.
But I also don't want to get it bogged down by the things that haven't been approved. You know what I mean? Like that's.
We need to make some decisions, and then like this will just help us force.
Also, we can't force, for example, the case a cat. What are they called? Feast community to donate themselves. You know what I mean? Like that needs to be.
I know, but we can force us to make a decision about the data working group, and I think that's the better outcome.
So what is the specific thing we would be proposing?
Approving or rejecting the data working group?
Well, I think people have already approved it, right? But it's just the question is the specifics.
Yeah, right. But the specifics are important, right there.
That's the part that that's where I'm saying I'm a bit worried that like, did these people all agree to be in the data working group? Like, I mean, like who leads the Spark development right now? Like, because they should be the leads, right? Like they need to be the leads of something, right? That otherwise they don't lead their own project.
I agree. I think that's the thing we can discuss offline. I think the point is that this will force us to have a conversation about it.
I mean, just add your comments. In the end, we will vote
what I'm
on
saying is
something.
we need to involve the Spark leads.
Gets improves the
yeah, I agree with you, Matthew.
Like my comments are not the ones that matter here. You know what I mean? Like my comments are not.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. I'm not.
Yeah. Like, and so I think we need to just get them to understand that they need a working group, and then say you need to figure out what you want, right? Like, do you want to be part of this other one? Because we're going to make this other one, maybe, who knows? But right now, they do exist, and this other thing doesn't. So, because like it's a method for us to review, is there a leadership structure? You know, like that's what we can use it as an opportunity to make sure that there's independent governance of Spark.
So let's see. Is it community 673?
And so I think we might need a separate PR is what I'm saying, just for a Spark working group or something. Like if we look at owners.
I absolutely disagree.
What I'm saying is so these people here, are they approvers on Spark Operator?
I'm going to. Yeah, Andre is technically represented there, but I don't think he actually.
That's what I mean. Yeah. I think it's like people like Vara.
Yeah, I just tagged Varu.
And I think we don't need to force him into accepting this as their working group, but they do need a working group before we propose to graduate. That's kind of what I mean.
I agree. Right. Like, again, this is a forcing function for us to just settle a couple different things. And you know.
Does Model Registry have a working group? They don't either. Okay, that's actually the problem, right? Like, yeah.
So far, we have been working fine with the like the calendar and playing by the rules that the Kubeflow community sort of like asked us to do, and that was part of this data proposal PR was part of that. Then sort of like so far we didn't find any reasons to work together with the Spark beyond potential integration in the future, like with other working groups. So up to the KSC and the community to decide. For me, the important point is that at least we have the repo, we have a structure that we are maintaining. We've been following the instructions as well to onboard any outside contributors. So
I just think that it's important that whoever leads it actually, because working groups own code and own
Yeah. Matthew, I hear you.
There's no way that Spark should be aligned to these other two. Is kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree with you. But we can discuss that with them offline.
Yeah. I just want to make sure that something actually. So the action item then is that we need
to discuss with the Spark, folks, if they're interested in being in a working group.
And model registry as well needs its own working group probably too. But yeah.
I thought model registry. Well, model
they
registry
actually don't have
community meeting, not a working group. I guess is that right?
That's like what I'm saying is we should have a Spark working. Well, we should confirm that they don't want to combine. If they don't, then they just need two separate working groups because they just need a
again, like we'll have that discussion async.
But let's not force it on them. It's kind of what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, we can't. I mean, I'm not in the business of forcing. I'm in the business of like let's discuss it, see what people want, and if they don't, then we know.
For model registry, we are just meeting every other Monday after the release team meeting. So if that needs to be called differently, more than happy. But sort of like this slot is where we convene as a working group of model registry. It doesn't require us so far to have a specific entry in the Kubeflow/community to be effective on it. So,
no, we're not saying that you're not effective or anything. It's mostly just like it's important to know who's responsible so that the CNCF can point to specific people for that project.
Yeah, and we have the owner's file maintained accordingly to the Kubeflow community guideline. So
then would those owners like to propose a working group for themselves? What are they calling themselves right now?
So far, if you go to model registry and you go to the approvers in the owners, sort of like typically we informally call it model registry working group in the Google Calendar simply because this happened before we had the WG data. So if you want me to
well, what I'm saying, like if you want to propose a charter or WG.
Yeah, to me the charter is what we've written in WG data.
But then there's other stuff in here that includes things that you don't own, right?
That like, I don't own, but sort of like that we can collaborate with. It's sort of like part of the scope.
Yeah, we can. I think we can be time efficient here, and like I said, we can discuss this async.
Yeah, that's my suggestion. Method. Just me to summarize what's been discussing here. I think data, the model registry and Feast working group agrees to be data, to be on the data working group. I think the question for the Spark operator committers is if they want to be included on this data working group or they want to maintain their one working group, and that's it. If they want to be included, we add one of them on this data working group. Otherwise, they need to create their own. Is that a good summary?
So I think there's one other thing as well, which is that Feast isn't formally asked to donate themselves yet. I mean, they kind of have. It's kind of in a complicated state. So then it's kind of falling into just model registry.
Yeah, again, these are all things that we need to discuss async with them, and the steering committee needs to actually make a decision.
I think the simplest way to do this is just do what the reality is, which is that Spark has their own group, model registry has their own group, and then talk about making a new one as part of the Feast donation.
Yeah, let me again discuss this with the KSC and with the Spark folks and the Feast folks, so like we can have all of those three conversations asynchronously.
I just worry that this is going to take the most time out of anything we've come across so far.
I think we're going to have to force a decision, and I'm fine with living one where Feast isn't involved for us to make a timely decision. Right?
I mean, Feast isn't on this list, right? So
what's that?
Feast isn't on this list.
Correct. So. We know that, and we discussed this as well in the steering committee for graduation.
So really, the problem is just that these two don't have a working group. That's really the issue.
Again, like there are some other things that were discussed in the KSC about this. So like, again, we'll discuss it more next week or in the next meeting that we come back to.
I just worry that by that point it will be too late because that's 2 weeks from now, and we need to have submitted this by then almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's
I hear
kind
you.
of.
I think we can get to a quick decision on this.
But I also, yeah, okay. I also don't want to hurt those projects. That's the other thing. Okay. Yes. Other than that,
From other agency from other agency component, I've added there the tracker where we keep in track on the progress of the, no, a little bit down, Matthew. So there in pink, whatever it is, dark red color. So Kubeflow model registry, we have the tracker for the batch. So currently we're standing at 81% and we're working through the remainder part. So indeed, for the part that we already completed, sort of like we splitted the work. So Humair, indeed, later offline, happy to connect with you and sort of like discuss on how we progress on this. Maybe also you have some improvement, we can take it.
Is there a way to transfer this badge ownership? Like, I don't see.
Is there
or do I need to just create the transfer badge ownership?
You can definitely add other people.
Okay.
Yeah, you can add other people.
Great.
So make sure that at least a couple of owners from your each working group have admin. Is it possible to be admin on multiple admins?
You can.
Yes, you can. I'm admin for a couple. Yeah.
Okay, because make sure that we have continuity at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that should actually be a requirement, and we should probably put that as like.
We've asked to add the KSC email address, I think, to it.
Wait, no, that's not where this is. What's happening here? Or that each open SSF badge has multiple owners, admins from the working group, plus the KSC email. Is that possible to add as an owner? Is that a thing you can do?
Yeah.
Okay. We should, this is really important that we go through each of them and make sure that that's the case. So we could go find each one, but do we know which ones don't have that right now? Do you have access to log in as the KSC email, Francisco?
I don't.
Oh, well, okay. Because other than that, I don't think there's much else we can really do other than saying we need to solve some of these issues.
Just just worrying back to what was discussing earlier, Matthew. One item of the badge is to have the security policy, and indeed, as mentioned in previous meeting, for me, more than happy for doing whatever setup we prefer. If we have a way to, and the Kubeflow community agrees that we should have a HackerOne, I'm happy to sort of like follow and align, or otherwise, I would sort of like encourage that to complete the badge, then we set up that GitHub responsible disclosure flow for each of the repository so that we can complete the badge. We can always update it later, but at least it will allow the different working group to achieve 100% of the badge for that item.
I mean, you can do whatever you want as your own project, right? Pipelines already has the GitHub one. And you should you should solve the problem in the short term, definitely. Having something is better than nothing. But also having a place where people can submit vulnerabilities that is ignored is debatably worse. But
yeah, what I'm trying to say is that I wouldn't hold on sort of like deciding on HackerOne in order to complete the badge. And therefore, I would prefer that if this HackerOne thing will take more time, sort of like it will fall off the deadline to complete the badge, then I would prefer that for the Kubeflow model registry, we set up the CV reporting on the GitHub functionality so that I can take that one and complete the badge with it.
However we do it, we just need to, I think we need to make a security page on the website Francisco.
Also, yeah, also to that one I agree, but this also goes beyond what I can single-handedly do for the working group.
Like, similar to how we have adopters, we should probably have, you know, the adopters. Maybe we already have it. Maybe not, but we should probably, or maybe it's under governance. No, I doubt it. We should have one here which is like security, and then one called adopters, and then link to the other things. But we shouldn't have the authoritative policy be here. But it's just like, you know, a table for like we have for the adopters one. You know, like maybe it could be in the community repo then. Nah, maybe because we just need to link to the other ones if every project has its own policy.
For security?
Yeah, for disclosure.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah,
we just need an aggregator, and the website is very good because then anything that ends up on the website will be top search result for Kubeflow space that word. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like if we put Kubeflow security disclosure, and then it's like, hey, there's actually 3 or 4 different places, 5 different places you need to look at. Which project are you trying to disclose for? You know, like this, like that. And so we probably also should add one here on the sidebar for adopters, maybe, or maybe we just add it as a link under community. Because we should just link to the to this page here, which is already aggregating them. It'd probably just be like, or we could automatically take the contents of this page as a website, because we can literally just use a remote page as a website.
Yeah, we could just link out to it. That's
just
fine.
depends on if we want the words here. You know what I mean? Like, because we need.
No, there are other areas like governance. Like I think we're not trying to duplicate stuff, and so we would probably just prefer to link out to it.
We just need to make sure that there actually is enough keywords on there that they get the top result. That's kind of my main. Like
I mean, again, this is more to just check the box for CNCF.
Well, for for adopters, it doesn't need it at all. It's not required for that at all. It's just
Oh, well, then we're not going to do that right now.
The security one we probably do though. But yeah,
we don't need to do it right now. We do that eventually. We'll make a ticket and allow someone to list it if they so choose.
For security, I think we do need an aggregated page though, so that when you type Kubeflow disclosure, you know what I mean? Like this, right now you get to pipelines.
Okay, was there any other thing that we wanted to discuss?
Well, I think this is one last thing, right? Which is that we need to make it so that there's a security disclosure for more than just pipelines listed on Google when you type this, you know?
Oh, actually, Julius, you're the one who did the security response, right? And you know,
so far, yes, yeah.
So actually, we do need the leads of the other projects to fill in their perspective on these things. Was there anything missing, Julius? Did you get feedback from them?
Yeah, I already covered here. I think I closed already 20 comments or so. You already see the cleaned up GTR.
Yeah. So installation. Describe.
And at the bottom, I think at the last line, I think is if you search for Julius, you will find what I've written about this. That right now it's mostly me.
How is the project executing access control?
Well, that's GitHub owners files, right? We've got that website on. We can link to the website page about that.
Yeah. Do you want to just put that down?
Where is that? Where am I missing it?
How is the project the second bullet point?
Because we already answered that up top, haven't we? Wait, isn't this duplicating here?
Yeah, well, actually, it does seem similar.
Access. I think that this might be being.
I mean, we copy and pasted directly, so I think like it's just what it is.
One section might be for users, and one's of when they install and run Kubeflow, and one section might be for our Git.
Yeah, that's kind of the part that I'm a little bit confused about, right? Is this about the app, or is this about the development? I imagine it would be about the development, wouldn't it? Or is this
I think that's the application itself.
We kind of, efficiently speaking, if we're saying that it's that we don't. right? If we're saying that we're graduating this, we don't have that feature. That's not a thing that's part of the project if we're not graduating dashboard.
Yeah, and this is what I told them. We have it this way. I think that's fine, and they need to decide. The reviewers need to come up with follow-up questions.
Yeah, they might offer some recommendations on things that we need to do, but yeah. So okay, we're at time.
Yeah.
Thank you for leading this, Matthew. I'm sorry I was late.
I don't know really, yeah, what's the next steps then with this part of it? Like, I worry this part might be a bit hard because we seem to have approached it from the perspective of platform.
I think we need every sub-project to come in and chime in on these specific items. So Humer, Mateo,
so maybe we need to force that to happen by putting like a section under each for each project. That ones that make sense to have multiple in.
yeah.
So like, what about, is it like, for example, in this case, would we specify for each project or?
No, I think just where it makes sense, like I think is where
I think roadmap probably does.
What's that?
Roadmap probably does.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, correct.
The roadmap there. I mean, I think it's not up to date, but we link the roadmap.
For pipelines.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, right? That's one of the components.
Yeah, but again, I'm happy to read the information from the badging here. It's not a problem. So sort of like I think that the action item that is required for the working group that it was also Umer request earlier is like first ensure that the badge gets completed. Second goes to this GTR document, and for each of the section where we think is reasonable, as Francisco was saying, to have a per component answer to add the comments there so that we need to make sure it's included. Fortunately, most of the information is coming from the badge as well. So I think that is a good way to approach it in my view.
Again, I think that like just having a holistic list checkbox that like, okay, pipelines working group, you have these remaining items, and then we'll just check it off like one by one. Okay, like need you to open SSF badge, checked off, whatever is next. Like then otherwise I fear that we're gonna start tagging people in the doc, and there's like so much going on in this doc that I think is gonna be hard to keep track of. So if we're already going through the process of identifying action items for working groups, just put it in a list, like, and then we'll go down that and see what is still remaining, and then we can reach out to those working group owners, be like, hey, you have these action items, like, can you please take a look?
Yeah, I mean, just to be blunt, I'm not loving the idea of me being in the business of corralling every working group lead.
That's fine. The alternative, I guess, would be then we just have each working group take a look at this and
Correct. I mean, and this is again like the most important thing of every working group at the moment is for us to graduate. And so like, I don't want to necessarily like miss something, which is a really like consequential thing. And then like at the specific level, it's just like only the working group, only the maintainers of the project really know the full scope of the project to actually opine on the specific component and answer the question adequately. You know, like Julius has done a great job answering from what he knows from the platform perspective, which is pretty broad across, but still imperfect. You know, it's not going to be as much knowledge as you know about pipelines, of course, right? And so
there's a question here, is right? Does this one here, like for example, when it says the primary use case of the project, do we list? So we list out the overall, you know, one. I said we need to update the wording to include the part that we said, but then the next step is, do we include one for each project? Probably. I feel like this is pretty good context for the reviewer, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, like this is just good enough. Like that.
That needs to be updated
I
to
think
say
like
the wording though, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll update that part to include because we just merged the final piece of it of like
I do still think we should make sure the tagline. I still worry that the tagline.
We updated the tagline.
It's still too long.
We updated the tagline this morning, and then we,
This is more than 50 characters.
you live.
It just means that we have to have a separate tagline for social media. So I think I still propose the AI toolkit for Kubernetes is the good tagline for the social media because it's short.
Okay, that's fine.
We just need to agree that is the tagline. That's kind of what I mean, right? Like that's.
I'm gonna update it right now.
Are we gonna use this for that, or what I'm saying is?
That's not even the tagline on.
Well, this is the website
on social media. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I gotta run. Thank you, folks.
So like, this one I don't know about. Weird.
All right. See you soon, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay.